While Western governments sanctioned Iran's elite, the son of one of Tehran's most powerful men was quietly building a life in Australia. Studying at Melbourne University, opening bank accounts, even collecting rent. His father now leads Iran's talks with Washington. So how deep did these regime connections run inside the West? A young man quietly arrives in Melbourne. He enrolls at a university, opens a bank account, inherits property and rents them out. On the surface, nothing about it seems unusual. But Eshagh Ghalibaf is no ordinary student. His father is one of Iran's powerful men and now leads Tehran's negotiations with the United States. These ties are raising new questions about security, sanctions, and how close the Iranian regime may have come to Western institutions. One powerful Iranian family has been covertly building connections in the West for years. According to a new investigation by The Guardian, Eshagh Ghalibaf has lived in Melbourne for years while studying and working at the University of Melbourne. Court documents from Canada reportedly show that he studied engineering, worked as a research assistant, maintained Australian bank accounts, and even received rental income from Melbourne properties. Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, his father, is not just another Iranian official. He is a former commander in Iran's Revolutionary Guards, a former police chief, and today one of the central figures in Iran's wartime leadership and diplomacy. Critics are now asking how the son of such a senior figure was able to establish long-term residency links in Australia, while other Western countries were becoming increasingly cautious about Iranian regime connections. The report also reveals that Canada rejected Eshagh Ghalibaf's visa applications twice before eventually refusing his permanent residency request altogether in 2024. Former detainee and academic Kylie Moore-Gilbert told The Guardian that Western governments have been too slow to recognize the security risks posed by relatives of high-ranking Iranian officials living abroad.
It's known that such people pose a security threat, especially to the Iranian-Australia community, which is overwhelmingly anti-regime, but also to the Jewish community. We have been very slow to wake up to the national security threats inherent in allowing senior Islamic Republic officials and their proxies, including children and family members, to migrate to or base themselves out of our country.
The controversy comes at a tense moment. Australia only officially designated Iran's Revolutionary Guards as a state sponsor of terrorism last year, after intelligence agencies linked Tehran to alleged threats targeting Australia's Jewish community. And now, with the Middle East crisis expanding and Iran facing growing international pressure, the discovery of these Australian connections is triggering political backlash. Some lawmakers argue Australia's sanctions framework contains major loopholes. Others say the case highlights how Iranian elite networks may have quietly operated inside Western countries for years. The bigger issue here isn't just one politician's son. It's the uncomfortable reality that while governments publicly confront Iran overseas, members of Iran's ruling establishment and their families may still be building financial, academic, and residency ties inside the very countries criticizing Tehran. And as the geopolitical battle around Iran intensifies, stories like this are likely to receive much more scrutiny. Ali Larijani was one of the most powerful men in Iran, a philosopher, a politician, a conservative heavyweight who sat at the very top of the regime for decades. He was killed in an Israeli airstrike on Tuesday. He was 67, but in the days since his death, a quieter story has been pulling focus. The story of his daughter. Fatemeh Ardesha Larijani is a cancer specialist. She trained and practiced medicine in the United States, holding positions at university hospitals in Cleveland, and later at Emory University's Winship Cancer Institute in Atlanta. one of the most respected cancer research institutions in the country. She was an assistant professor there. In 2021, under the Biden administration, she was granted a green card. And here is the detail that stopped people cold. She is herself a cancer survivor. According to Iranian dissidents who monitor the regime, Fatemeh first came to the United States seeking treatment. The very country her father's government spent decades condemning as the Great Satan was the country that treated her, trained her, employed her, and eventually gave her the right to stay.
Fatemeh Larijani, the daughter of Ali Larijani, came to the United States for cancer treatment, the very country her family's system condemns, while millions of Iranians are denied access to basic healthcare and opportunity.
By January of this year, the pressure had become impossible to ignore. A Change.org petition signed by more than 156,000 people called on the Trump administration to deport her. Emory University parted ways with her shortly after. She has not spoken publicly. She has largely stayed out of the spotlight, something that, given everything, is perhaps unsurprising. Fatemeh Ardesha Larijani is not an isolated case, not even close. According to experts and dissidents cited by the New York Post, there are an estimated 4,000 to 5,000 relatives of prominent Iranian regime figures currently living in the United States. Hundreds more are in Canada and Australia. Inside Iran, they have a name for these people, Aghzadas, the noble-born. And back home, they are deeply, bitterly resented. The list of names and the universities attached to them is striking. Layla Khatami, daughter of former Iranian President Mohammad Khatami, teaches mathematics at Union College in upstate New York. Following US airstrikes on Iran last month, her photo was quietly removed from the university's faculty page. Zahra Mohageg Damad, a niece of Ali Larijani himself, is on the engineering faculty at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, where she directs a unit analyzing risk in complex technological systems, including commercial nuclear plants. Zainab Hajarian, whose father co-founded Iran's Ministry of Intelligence after the 1979 revolution, is an assistant professor of biomedical engineering at the University of Massachusetts Lowell. And in Los Angeles, Isa Hashemi teaches psychology. His mother, Masume Ebtekar, was the spokesperson for the student militants who held 52 American diplomats hostage for 444 days. American media at the time called her Screaming Mary.
I would think that there would be a security risk, as Iranian academics have been critical in forming public opinion on the left in the US, essentially deceiving liberals into thinking that the regime is more progressive when it's still advancing the same hardline agenda. A lot of them are nephews and nieces, and it's hard to track them because they don't have the same last name as the regime leaders.
The regime burned effigies of President Trump in the streets. It called America the Great Satan from pulpits and state television. And all the while, its most powerful families were enrolling their children in American universities, securing green cards, and building careers in the country they publicly despised. The noble-born landed softly. The question now, as war rages and petitions pile up, is how much longer America lets them stay.